And we see on your like Instagram page, you like to do different like, you like to say, how do you say it? Just kind of vibrate on a higher frequency, I guess you can say. And kind of like attract people who are kind of at a higher frequency, and you as well. Do you kind of believe in like energies and vibes like that, the kind of frequencies?
I do believe a lot because every the universe is about vibration, energy, and frequencies, like Tesla said. So for me, I feel, and I believe that this is very true. Because some people you will meet and straight away you will know. It's not like you're trying to judge them, but you feel like there's a gut feeling that tells you, or an intuitive feeling that tells you, oh, they're a nice person, or oh, something not doesn't feel right.
Right.
And your body's already telling you, your gut is already telling you that there's something not sitting well, and that comes from the energy of the person themselves. So your body, I feel like sometimes when you think about a radio, when you're trying to tune a radio in your car, and if you get the wrong frequency, the sound will not be nice to hear. And our body is very much like a radio. You just have to find the right frequency and the right tune to be able to vibrate, I guess, on a harmonious level. So we're very much like a radio. We just have to find the right frequency to attract the right people in our life.
Exactly. Well, tell us. Okay, so do you live off of your mind, your heart, or your gut? What do you go by just in everyday life, or yeah? What do you listen to?
A good question, because it's funny you say that. A few days ago, I have a very close friend. He's a psychic. He's a psychologist and a psychic, which is very strange to bring both together from a psychology point of view and a psychic point of view. So I was having a chat with him a few days ago, and we were talking about that. He was telling me, Ash, you're too much in your mind. You're too much in your mind. And I am in my mind a lot. And I have to, it's a conscious effort that I have to tell myself, I need to get back in my heart. And gut, heart, sometimes you forget about the gut. It is all connected.
Yeah.
It is all connected. And I consciously make an effort to be more in my heart. And which is sometimes, in society with the influence that we have in societal pressure, friends, work, whatever it is, it's not always an easy task.
No, it's not. I agree. It's not easy at all.
And you have to admit it. You can't just say, hey, no. You know what? Put it aside. Let's be in our heart. It's possible, but there's work to do. It's not going to just snap like that and happen just all of a sudden. So it is a process. It is like going to, let's say if you want to ride a horse. I'm not just going to jump on a horse and then expect to be able to ride that horse. I have to learn how to saddle it, how to get on top. Everything, it comes through the process. And I feel like getting in your heart too, because we're so conditioned from childhood to always have different beliefs, different barriers that we tend to always overthink before we do something, and we never are able to be in our heart. And it's a process of unlearning this to be able to get back.
I agree. It's an unconditioning of the mind. I believe that 100%. And once you do that, you can be your natural self, who you truly are. So,
correct.
Yeah. Correct. Well, tell me, your gut, do you usually trust it? Has it been right a lot of the times, or have you ever found yourself wrong? Or
I think I should trust it more. I don't give it enough credit.
Yeah.
But and as you said yourself, there's something wrong. But because you try to analyze it, you go straight back in your mind. You're like, no. Let's analyze that. It's the guts. I can see what I can see, but I'm feeling something, but that feeling is not seeing it.
It's exactly. Yeah.
But my mind, I can see it, I can process it, and I can make logic out of it.
Yes.
And because of that, I'm going with my mind. Because it's easier to be able to abide to that. So now, many times I believe that I have not listened to my guts. And each time it happened, that intuitive feeling, the universe, I feel, brought me back to reality by making it, in a way of, to bring me back to reality, to get back on my path again. And in that moment of getting back in your path, you can have your heart broken, you can feel sad, you can feel like, everything is crumbling around you.
Yeah.
And those are not really those are not really the universe trying to push you down.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the universe is telling you, well, this has not worked, and this is what I'm trying to bring to you, to your attention in that way.
Yeah.
So that you wake up, so that you take action, so that you realize that this is not nice for you. It is not serving you. So if it's not serving you, change something.
Do you believe everything is in life pretty much meant to be? Do you believe kind of everything, just like everything that happens in life, is just kind of meant to happen, or?
Wow, it's a very interesting question. I feel like there is a higher force there that some people say there's destiny, there's your life has already been written somewhere, some way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel that there is a truth to that. If you think of the quantum field, etc., and if you bring it back to the physical, there's a truth to that. But I also feel like we have the power of choice, and we have the power to I won't say manipulate, but change that aspect of what do we want. Like a thought, they say a thought becomes reality. A thought can become reality if it's realistic.
Realistic meaning, go more into detail. Realistic, like, yeah.
Yeah. If I want to be Usain Bolt, and I'm like 39, I'm like, I'm going to be the fastest man in the universe. 39, I'm thinking about it, I'm going to be the fastest man. I'm going to be the fastest man. It's a thought.
Yes.
Will that be a reality? It may not be, because like I have to try to get something that, like a realistic goal that I know that that can happen. Well, I don't say that can happen, but that you can have a set map that you follow that can achieve that.
Yeah.
And I believe sometimes in unrealistic goal, but not too unrealistic.
How about like a lot of people you see kind of online or just real life, a lot of people try to manifest a relationship or like the proper partner that they want in life. How do you feel about that? Do you think they can manifest? Or sometimes people are like, oh, I can't tweak it right, or I'm off, or this guy was awful, or this girl was awful. How do you feel about manifesting a partner?
Manifesting is, I feel like there's a power to it. It's like the power of the now. There's a power to manifesting something that you want. However, before manifesting, let's say, for example, a partner, when you're manifesting that partner, if you yourself, you're not at peace, you're not in line, you're not grounded, you're not... So let's say, for example, when I say manifesting, if you write down all the traits of the partner that you want to manifest, for example, I'm like, okay, tell me 20 traits that you want to manifest in a partner. So you will write down those 20 traits on a piece of paper. Now the question is, it's great, you have an idea who you want to bring in your life, but are you embracing those traits yourself? Because if you're not embracing those traits yourself, you will attract the partner that is lacking in those traits that you lacked.
Yeah.
So when that partner comes in, you may have written all your traits that you want in that partner, but when that partner comes in, the true authentic self that you are is not going to get that partner that is on the piece of paper. It's going to get the partner that you truly are inside, if that makes sense. When I say truly are, it's like something that you need to work on yourself.
Right.
They will come in, it will not be pleasant. And I've been through it myself. It will not be pleasant, but it will be a learning curve to get you back on path again.
So you've tried to manifest someone in your life?
I did a few times.
And how did that turn out? Yeah.
Sorry?
How did that turn out?
It did turn out well. And some of them did, when I say some, some of them did turn out more like a lesson.
A lesson, yeah.
I had to, I feel I had to learn something from that person because I was not harnessing that trait, energy that I needed to learn from.
Well, tell me, why do you think, like we said here, the manifesting world, why do you think it turns out to be a lesson? Why can't it be the actual correct person in your life? I wonder this all the time too. Why can't it just be the right person or your mutual love here? Why is it a lesson each time?
I think it's possible to manifest someone that is wonderful, amazing, etc. What we tend to do is we tend to be in our mind when we're manifesting. We be in our mind when we're manifesting, and we manifest it, but we can't see ourselves with that person.
Right.
We are still living in the past. When I say the past, it's like you're living in that feeling of the past, which you're still connected with. And here you're manifesting something that you want to feel now and in the future. But you're still connected, that those etheric cords are still holding on to the past.
Yeah.
So until you can let those cords go, for example, if I broke up with my girlfriend, there's cords that are still connected with that person.
Yeah.
If those cords, and as you say, and you can get that, if those cords, I feel, if they're connected with that person, means that there's still emotion, there's still pain, there's still joy, there's still everything still connected with that. When you're writing the traits, you're writing pretty much the person that you've just lost. And you attract the same person in your life sometimes because you haven't learned the lesson.
Yeah, that's true. How do you feel about this year? How do you feel about the energies? What do you have to say? Because there's a lot of things going on, obviously. So what's your opinion?
So we have electromagnetic energy inside of us, in our hearts. The heart has more electromagnetic energy than the mind. So I feel like right now the heart is we're all hurting.
Yeah.
And the energy that is being released on an electromagnetic field. Well, I wish I could prove that. But so at the moment we are all fearful, and the energy that is being released is not an energy of unity. It's an energy of disintegration.
Yeah.
So I feel it manifest, and I'm not saying it's impossible. The intention that needs to be put in manifesting needs to be 10x now.
Yeah,
the intention needs to be really, really pure, and I feel like that's where you start getting off the brain and getting really truly in your heart, and creating those amazing things that you want in your life. But the intention will have to really go up.
Yeah.
Because everything that's good.
That's right. Well, tell me, have you ever been through you personally, like a spiritual enlightenment or something, or how did you get on this path? Because like we said, everybody isn't kind of always understanding of this kind of, not life, but you know what I mean? So how did you get on this path a little bit, and have you ever been enlightened or like anything?
I don't know if I'm enlightened.
Or close, or kind of to get on that path? Like anything to trigger you?
Mom and Dad has always been in that. So since I was born, they always were in that spiritual realm. And Dad does meditate. Still, he meditates at the age of 70.
Wow.
Mom does meditate every now and then. And my dad's saying he wakes up at sometimes 3 in the morning because he heard 3 was good to wake up to meditate. So he's very much like, So he wakes up at 3 in the morning and meditates. That's my dad. But I grew up in a family that was very open to the spiritual realm. So it was very easy to be able to go down the path. However, it took me a long time. So when I left home and I came to Australia, it took me a long time to get on that path. It's not until I was married with my ex-wife, or we separated. And we had a baby. It's not until then that the want and the need, I would say the need more, the need to get on that path, and was very strong. And at that moment, that's when I left. I went to India thinking I was just like, India was because of the fact that, the whole spiritual side to it, all that stuff. So I went there, not really thinking what I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to go there and see what happens. And but it was an amazing experience because I went to Agra, which is where the Taj Mahal is. I went to a monastery there, and then I went to Nepal, and I stayed and I learned how to meditate.
Wow!
And it was nice things down the track. I'm not saying that I became enlightened, but I understood what was the process to be able to get on the path. I came back. When I came back, it was a massive shock. Because, when you start becoming conscious, there's a stir inside of you that's like your foundation is like taken off.
Yeah.
And you're like, what do I do now? like I'm not going to go back to how I was before, but how do I move forward knowing that this is not who I truly am? How do I move forward? And that was the most challenging part, to be able to go forward from that moment that you feel like I'm getting conscious.
Yeah.
I'm understanding things, and I had to learn more. I had just to learn more about, and you still learn. You never stop learning. Like,
yeah, of course.
I don't know, and I'm still wanting to learn, and I'm still wanting to connect with. Even meditating, the other time I was meditating, and I was like, when you meditate, it got me in my mind. I was so in my mind at a certain point. I was like, wow, okay. You start thinking, why am I in my mind right now? Sometimes it takes me 1 minute to 5 minutes to get into a deep meditation. But a few days later, it took me like 20 minutes, and I was still not anywhere. So then I started thinking, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And what I was doing is, I got to a point that there was an observer. No, there was someone observing me, and that's the observer. And there was two. I split into two. I was looking at myself, meditating, and I was meditating.
And you were meditating.
And each time I was trying to feel, the observer was trying to feel, was trying to feel a feeling. The observer was like, well done, keep doing that. And I was always stuck in that mind of, okay, validation. I'm looking for that validation for myself.
Yes.
But from the next, And I was like, wow, okay, this is what's happening. And I had to just change that.
Yeah.
Stop getting into that validation mode of being and telling myself and judging myself. And the next few days I had to work on that, because I was like, wow, this is not what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But yeah, you tend to recorrect yourself sometimes without even people having to say anything, because it gets to a point that you come to that moment that you're like, okay, great, something needs to change.
Yeah, that's right. So now you're at a better place? Like, would you say you're happy?
Yes, much better place.
Okay, good. Just checking on the now. I'm like, okay, that's good. But yeah, I believe like when you're going through like a spiritual path like that, there's a lot of ups and downs, like always. There's never going to be like a steady balance, and you always have to reground yourself, I find. So,
correct.
Yeah.
Correct, exactly. And I think that's the thing, like we tend to, grounding yourself comes from different ways we can do it, and hence the reason why nature is such a beautiful way of trying to reconnect with from where you really truly come from. Or even like, people say, we tend to oversee the fact that the power of even a tree in front of your house, just lying there under the tree and touching the tree for like a good 5-10 minutes. It's so simple, but we don't realize how grounded it is. Or just walking barefoot outside on the sand. Like when I wake up in the morning, when I do my meditation, when I walk out of the house, I'm barefoot. I get to the sand, I'm barefoot, get in the water, I'm barefoot, and it makes me really feel, it's cold.
Yes.
It's not pleasant, but it's grounding.
Yeah.
It really is grounding, and it's such a simple process. There's no medication to it. There's nothing that you need to take for it.
Do you believe in chakras? You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you kind of like work on each chakra? Have you balanced everything? Like, how do you kind of go through that?
So with the chakra, there's so much emotion trapped in each of them, each points. For me, it was my security and my confidence and my heart too. Actually, my thoughts, everything. And but what I came to understand when I was interestingly said that when I was away for like nearly 10 years now to India, is where when I was doing the meditation, they found that my third eye was active.
Oh.
So it was naturally active, meaning that, and not that I knew it, but it was just very active. That's what they noticed. But what came through is my throat was blocked, my solar plexus was blocked, and my root chakra was not fully active.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, so those are the things that I started working on, and they're all colors, and they have a certain sound to them. Like back there, they use sound Ram, Ra, Vram. So they use the sound of trying to activate them. At that time, I did not realized the power of sound. And when I was doing it, I was not believing it.
Okay.
I was just doing it. I was like, oh, you know what? I just do it. But after like a few days of doing it, I really started feeling the resonance, like how it's resonating in the body. And I started realizing like, hey, there's something here. I have to be open-minded to that and let's just not brush it off. And I started diving a bit deeper in the sound and really embodying it. It was amazing because it did help. I'm not saying that, and that's the thing, when it helps, it does not mean that you close the door and it's great. You just have to continuously work on that.
Of course.
Which at that time I didn't know. I was like, oh great, I feel good right now.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, I do believe in chakras and the energies of the body because at the end of the day, aligning all chakras does create, I would say, a better person, but a better version of yourself.
I agree.
Because we're all trying to be a better version of ourselves. Because the person that I was yesterday is different from the person I am today. I've learned something new, and I may not have not liked something that I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
But how am I seeing it today? What new things that I'm learning today? So yeah, to what I've been through this year. It was my throat chakra that was blocked this year.
Oh.
Since last year, actually. My throat chakra. And I didn't realize it because, you know, when you're in a relationship where you're giving a lot.
Oh, yes.
And you're trying to, yes. And you're trying to not stir the boat because the other person has different challenges that is way more than what the normal people will be faced with. You just, okay, let's not rock the boat. Let's keep it on, just not rock the boat. And I realized that it was my throat chakra that I blocked completely for the past 2 years or so. And as soon as the person left, that's what I wanted to release. And because I felt on my thymus, because when I was trying to release, tapping my thymus, especially in the morning. So when I would go to the beach, I always tap my chest under my thymus to be able to release the energy. But I was burping a lot.
Oh, wow. A lot of release, yeah.
So it was literally burping, and I was like, that is weird. And I went to read into that, and it's purging.
Purging, yes. Yes. A lot of purging, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of energy clearing, good,
Yeah, and I started working on my throat chakra a little bit more lately than before.
Wow, but a lot of people don't realize when you go through the chakras, you actually have physical symptoms that go along with it. It's not just like, oh, I'm sitting here and, like you say here, you're burping. Like, it's literally like a physical symptom that goes with each chakra. Like, and it lasts until you heal it. So, after what you're saying as well. So, yeah, that's what it is.
No, exactly. And it's so interesting you brought that up. And that's it. We have all the chakras has a different energy and it is meant for something different. But as long as when they align, that's when you're in your most aligned, natural, authentic self.
That's right.
And that's what we work towards to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually beautiful when you say it that way.
Yeah.
And I think karmic partners are very as hard as it can be two ways. It can be great or it can be a lesson.
Yeah.
But that lesson that you learn is just it really changes everything. If you embrace that lesson, it really is a stepping stone for you to be able to change something that you need to change to be able to attract the person that you need in your life. Yeah. And I always say, don't try to get what you want. Go with what you need, because that want is the desire. And I would say just go with what you really need, because the person that comes in your life that is what you need needs will be balanced.
Yeah. That's true. Do you feel a lot of, like we said, the karmic partners or someone that's spiritually related like that? Do you feel like you can't ever not keep them, but like they won't ever stay in your life once they've done their job for the chakras and everything? Do you feel like that?
That's an interesting question. If it's an interesting question because like you always will have that etheric cord with them.
Yeah.
When I say etheric cord, like that connection, and it will be a choice if you want to have them in your life. Because for me, each time I move away from a partner, I cut the etheric cord. I just cut them. do it, in movements where I cut it 3 times and I just, do the little process.
How do you do the process? Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, how do you cut usually?
They're very cool. So you have that connection with that person. What I usually do, I do a little meditation. I connect with the person. I thank them. Ho'oponopono. The process of Ho'oponopono. I thank them, and then I cut the cord 3 times and make sure that the cord is well cut.
Yeah.
And then I just meditate again. I feel at peace with myself by giving. And it's not the easiest. It's not the easiest process because it has to come from a space of no ego, no pain, no resentment.
That's right.
And that's the tricky part, because if you're trying to cut it a week later, 2 days after you break up, it's not going to happen.
It's not. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Go through the emotion, learn what you need, and I feel like you need to go through emotion. No one can, as much as you need support, you have to go through emotion personally. But once you go through the emotion, once you're able to manage that emotion, it can take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5, however long it takes. Get to a point then that if you really want that person out of your life, when I say out, you can still send them love, but you don't need to have them around you. That's when you can decide, okay, I'm going to cut that cord, and I feel comfortable doing that now without feeling resentment, pain, anger, etc.